Welcome back to the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I'm your host, Nat Plastino, and I thank you once again for tuning into my show. Today, we'll be diving into a topic about setting boundaries. Now, I know that you look at situations where I'll give you a good example where you're at work. Let's say hypothetically you're at work, right? And let's say you're working in office, and when you're working in office, you're doing your work, and then all of a sudden someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm a little having a little hard time with something. Could you help me out with this?" And you say, "Okay, well, sure. I want to be the good coworker and say, okay, sure, I'll help you." Now, when that happens, I mean, it's nice that you were able to help your coworker with their work, but then afterwards, you're taking your time away from your precious work, right? And this is something that happens all the time. Boundaries are, these limits that we should set, right, in our lives, in ourselves, around what we think, what we will and will not tolerate from other people. The trouble is, usually, we have not clearly defined what those limits are. So then, that causes others to continually cross those lines. It's kind of like a line in the sand, and then they keep jumping over that line in the sand, right? And in the end, the ones who then become emotionally distraught by the lack of action in making those boundaries are basically ourselves. We're the ones who are supposed to set these boundaries, and we become emotionally distraught because of it. It's kind of like a snowball effect, right? It starts to take root little by little, and then we commit to helping others with their needs, and then we start to do other things, and we start to do more for them, and then it becomes a big snowball effect, a big snowball that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. These commitments turn into a compounding weight on our shoulders. It's a huge weight on our shoulders, and we don't always have the time or patience to deal with other people's problems or issues, but we do it anyway, just to be nice, to be people pleasers, of course. We need to take that time and energy back for ourselves. Our own needs come first. The idea is say no with kindness. We say yes all the time when we really should be saying no. The word no sounds, very negative. So I totally understand when you say, well, I don't want to say no because I don't want to be not liked by my coworker, not liked by my friend, my family member, especially family members, especially is a big example. But we always want to be liked by everyone around us. We sometimes say yes just to keep the peace with everyone around us. And when we take on that role to be these people pleasers, the perception, like we spend a lot of time and energy managing the perceptions of others and then taking on more responsibility than we can handle. The idea is we're taking on a lot of responsibility on other people's needs and then not on our own. A tremendous strain on our well-being is not the best course of action at the comfort of others. We need to take back our power and control how we spend our precious time. Your time is valuable. Remember, nobody is going to take care of you better than yourself. You are your number one priority. Be kind and learn to say no. We can look at it from a perspective of great self-awareness. We can get to the core of your true self, right? How you feel about everyday issues and how to set your boundaries is important. Be honest about what your desires are, what is good for you, and understand what your needs your needs always have to come first. Do not allow other people to decide for you what's best for you. This becomes very difficult because we always want to please other people, right? Remember that people are not mind readers. They can't read your mind. They don't know how busy you are, right? So they don't know how you feel unless you communicate or express your desires. Nobody is going to know how you stand on any issue unless you voice what your boundaries are. Express your truth and how you feel. And it can be uncomfortable. It's unbelievably uncomfortable. Sometimes we will offend others in the process, and that's okay, since we need to stand our ground. Boundaries are extremely important for that role. We need to understand that we are not responsible for other people's feelings. I know that this hurts, but it's true. Yes, that's true. Very uncomfortable to hear, but very true. If someone is offended or sad because of your boundaries, then it's not on you, it's on actually them. There is no need to try and heal everyone else from emotional pain when you are the one who is hurting the most by not setting limits. Learning to love yourself and prioritize your well-being should be your number one prerogative. When all said is done, right? When two individuals respect each other's boundaries, then in turn, they actually respect each other's values. We should not feel guilty to say no. I know it's hard, but it's true. Being treated with respect is of the utmost importance. How you respect yourself is also important. And that respect goes both ways, of course, right? Remember that you have the right to not meet others' unreasonable expectations. Whatever their expectations are, you're not responsible for them. We are always tested in life on these many, many scales. It will happen no matter what. There will always be times when someone does something that you are not troubled with or put in a situation where you feel obligated to violate a boundary, right? So we need to brace ourselves for these situations by wanting our values to be treated with respect, by sticking to the line in the sand. Thank you once again for joining me on the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. If you like this episode, please hit subscribe. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And if you like the episode, please share it with a friend or family member in need. Until next time, I'm Nat Plastino signing off. We'll talk later.